Mhm. Y'all ready for it?
Let's get
Man.
it.
All right, what's the order? What's the order?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
he was about to start, boy. He was about to start. We ain't even got an
Hey,
order.
hey, soon as it's 2 minutes of me more than rolling with Malik Church like,
Just
Hey,
okay.
which one y'all going?
I go after Barry.
Okay,
All right.
cool. I'll go after
It don't matter.
Martin then.
All right, I'll go third. Okay. I'm
No,
throwing a wrench
no,
all up
wait.
in. Huh?
Oh, that was Dominique that said I'll go after Barry. Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, go
told
ahead. I'll go last because
Okay,
I'm switching
okay,
it
I,
up.
cool.
hey, I
Okay, cool.
told
Yeah,
y'all
that'll
didn't
work.
want to be sounding like.
Sure did. I thought that was him. Okay, cool, cool.
All right, y'all ready?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So this particular story it took place on a young planet, and the planet was called Erection, and it was a case that basically redefined how they would classify terrorists from now on. It started with this young man. His name was Charles, and he happened to be the professor at a school. And the school was for overprivileged kids and whatnot, some stuff like that. Somewhat had happened, and they were trying to try him because they said that he was brainwashing the kids or something like that. Some kind of way, somehow, it went down, and so he was in court, and his lawyer's name was Tony D. And Tony D had been hired by some other people to really figure out who's the boss, you know. And Charles was over there, and Tony had wired it down. And he felt like he was pretty confident that Charles was in charge, you know. So he was over there, and his co-counsel was Mona, and you know Charles' lawyer, his name was Mike, and Mike kept telling him, "I think we can do this. I think we can beat it. You're a smooth criminal." And so he's sitting there. He's like, all right, okay, that sounds good. And Mike's co-counsel was a Spanish fellow, and his name was Orangeus. And they just called him O because in Spanish the J is silent. So Orange was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think we can make a killing out here, bro. And he said, we got this, we got this. And so now they're starting the trial, and the judge Judy, uh, you know,
Judge Judy was she came to the trial. She was the judge sitting on the bench, and she came to the court case drunk. Now she was drunk off of that juice, and we ain't talking about the defendant, but she came to the court. And she's sitting there. She was drunk, but she was a functional drunk. She every now and again she had her words would start slurring. She started dozing, but then what I'm saying, her bailiff knew. So every now and again he would throw paper clips at her to keep her awake. Well, this particular day, he threw a paper clip at Judge Judy. Where he reached in his pocket, he thought he was grabbing a paper clip, but it was actually he put out one of those thumbnails you put in the wall to hold up paper on the wall, and he threw the thumbnail at Judge Judy, and it hit her right in her eye, stuck in her left eye. But she was so wasted she didn't realize it. So she's sitting there in court, getting ready to see over the trial, and one of those thumbnails was sticking right out of her eye. And everybody was focusing on this little thumbnail that was sticking out her eye. But there was one little kid in the back of the courtroom, and he kept raising his hand like he was in class. Kept raising his hand. And his mother kept putting his hand down, like, "Don't raise your hand. You're not in class." But the kid wanted. He pointed right at Judge Judy's eye, and he was like, he looked at it, and he started pointing at her eye, and he saying, "Judge, you got something in your eye. Something is in your eye," like that. And Judge Judy, she looked at the kid, and she didn't realize what was in her eye, and she say, "Order in my court, order in the court, order in the court." And she got ready to slam the gavel down, and it slipped out her hand, and it flew across the room and hit Mike. And the only thing Mike could say was hit. And when it hit Mike and he started falling back in the chair, he said he hit him. He's like, "This make me want to scream!" And he hit the floor. Bam! And when his back hit the floor, the lawyer thought it was funny. And when the lawyer started laughing, he said Mona. I think her name was Mona. Mona. Yeah, when she started laughing, you know what I'm saying, the judge had this superpower to put whatever was going on with her onto somebody else. And when she saw Mona laughing, she took that thing on her left eye and she just put it right on Mona. And right on her left eye. Mona's first name was Lisa, you know what I'm saying? I mean, her last name was Lisa. But when she stuck her in that eye, she stuck in the left eye, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she stuck her in that left eye. And that kind of reminded her, because she growing up, she had a cousin who ironically name was Left Eye. And she was a fire starter though. She ended up going to jail herself because she had burned some dude's house down. But so she was gonna call Left Eye and, kind of see how she lived with that. Meanwhile, you had Mike Jack. He was just talking to the lawyer because they really wanted to get the professor out. So he just kept telling the attorney, man, you just gotta beat it. Just beat it. He kept telling me, like whatever you gotta do, just beat it. You know what I'm saying? So he was just like, it's black and white. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about none of the gray areas. It don't matter. It's black and white. So you just gotta beat it. So they were doing pretty good. But the state, man, the state tricky. The state is tricky. So the state had called in a key witness. And it's always shocking because the person they bring to testify in is always a friend of the person or somebody they never thought. So they had this guy come in. He was a neat freak. They called him Nito. His last name was Nito. And he was very attractive. He attracted people to him. First name Mag. So they brought in Magneto. And when the professor saw him, he was like, "What? I can't believe this. I can't believe you would turn state and testify against me." But he was just like, "Man, you know what I'm saying? Stuff ain't going right at that school. You ain't doing right. That school is supposed to be for overprivileged children. But from what I hear, you got a grown man going there named Logan." And he was like, "Come on, man. This man, he at least 45 years old, at least. And you got him around all these kids and you know what I'm saying? It's all these rumors of pedophilia and stuff going on. He's like, you can't be having him out there." Well, from what I hear, he holds them at a point with knives. Like he walks around with knives in his hand, basically trying to tell the kids they need to come back to his room with him.
He told all the kids they need to come back to his room with him, but he forgot, man, that what those knives were metal. Those knives were metal, and Logan was pissing Magneto off, right? And Magneto said, "Hey, man, you leave those kids alone." And the angrier he got, the more the more that he had a superpower too. He would draw this metal out, but as long as he was calm, everything was cool. But Logan started bothering him, and Logan had a problem because they were on Erection Planet. See, Logan, when he was just normal, he always had an erection. I mean, that just was the way it was for him. But these pockets were in these knives were in his pocket, right? So when Magneto started getting pissed, these knives started rattling in Logan's pocket. And Logan said, "Okay, Magneto, calm down, calm down." And Magneto said, "No, man, I want you to leave those kids alone. Get out of here right now." But by this time, it was too late, man. Those knives, needless to say, Logan needed surgery because one of those knives in his pocket, they started moving and flickering and stuff. And Logan lost his privacy. I mean, I'm just going to say it the way that it was. Logan fell on the ground and he's screaming, and Mike over there going, he's on his tiptoes, because it messed him up. He started sliding across the floor because all that blood was on the floor. I mean, it's gross, but he started, kind of backpedaling, trying to get out of the room, and where Logan was. But you know, people felt they forgot that the more chaotic they got, you know, their erection. Okay.
Yeah, and so the whole ordeal with that you know that they didn't tell you was that Logan, you know, that his nickname, you know, because you know it's Logan, you know, most of them called him Ganny, you know what I'm saying? And so you know, Mike was you know trying to get out of the room, and he just kept screaming, "Ganny, are you okay?" And he was asking him, "Can you tell me, is he okay? Is he okay? I mean, Ganny, are you okay?" You know what I mean? And so like everybody was tripping, and he was wilding out. But then, you know, the thing about Orangeus over there, he had a problem with one of his exes, right? So he had seen that knife and all that blood from Logan on the floor, and that made him have a flashback of a situation that may or may not have happened with him at once upon a time. You know, it's still questionable, but either way it goes, he saw, you know, Logan down there writhing and squirming with the knife and whatnot. And he said, "You're trying to take my girl. You're trying to take my woman." And, you know, he picks him up and he just stomps him out. And, you know, now Logan just dead. So, you know, he's not a problem no more. But Judge Judy was kind of squeamish. So, you know, once she seen all the blood and all of that, she had to go. And so then they brought in another judge. And his name was Tupacs. Tupacs came in and, you know, he was a Christian judge. So he came up and everything. He was, only God can judge me now. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he got up there on the stand and he's like, yeah. And so he was out there and he was like, "We gonna ride." You know, and so now he got the new judge up there and everything's, you know, trying to get down. And so Tony tries to start his appeal. And he says, "Charles has been charged with some heinous crimes." And he said, hold on now. It sounds like you're trying to tell me I'm on some lemony, bracketed, quicket times type stuff, and I ain't on that now. Hold on now.
So while he was going in, all of a sudden everybody's phone started dinging. And everybody, they looking at the phone, and there was an alert that went across. There was a terror attack. But this planet, Martin told y'all that Logan was the only one who had that problem. But this planet was called Erection because actually everybody had this problem. But it wasn't a problem because this was normal on that planet, right? So the thing came across the phone, it was a terror attack. Now, you know, in the military, you know, the military, they wear their BDUs, they call them BDUs, the battle dress uniform. Well, this terrorist group, they kind of dressed weird. They had on leggings, girdles, boots, tank tops, and then they wore a Quaker's hat. So you know, their uniform was LGBTQ. You know what I'm saying? So this group, when they landed on planet Erection, they came to take over the planet, but when they got there, they was in heaven. They saw all these men on this planet, right? And these men walking around normally. And on this planet, it was normal. But when the LGBTQ terrorist group got there, they got distracted. They was distracted. They came to take over this planet because they thought that this planet had the resources they thought they was going to get was water, gold. But when they got there, it was a whole nother resource. So what while they was in the process of trying to get set up and loaded up, the boss was so distracted.
Oh yeah, the boss was so distracted. But even before we get into that, because the terror stuff is really important, I don't want y'all to lose focus on Rajay Oos and the part that he played in, because he was really legendary. He was really legendary. He was from Cali, but he really got all over. He was in Buffalo, New York for a while. So he really did a lot of stuff. He used to model clothes too. He used to model stuff like gloves and stuff, but he had lost his job because the glove wouldn't fit. So he got fired and stuff. It was just some funny stuff. But anyway, he had a friend, man. His friend was always a real cool friend. This guy, I can't even lie. I don't know if it was a person cooler than him. This boy was so cool, they called him AC. So he never had a friend named AC. and him and AC was down, but AC was getting sick, man, and they didn't know what to do, so they had it like he had went to doctor after doctor after doctor, the best hospitals, Houston, you name it, and they could not heal him. So we'll just call old boy OJ. He made a call because you know he a foreigner, so he called back to his hometown in Mexico City, and he found this guy to fix AC. He was like, "Man, we really need you. We really need you to come fix AC. This is my boy. He been down for me through some stuff. Ride or die. AC is ride or die." So he said, "All right, cool." So he had called this guy, legend out there. This guy is well known. Everybody like important. This guy makes some money. His name was Geraldo Valenzuela Antonio Cornelius, but they just called him HVAC for short. HVAC, he said, "Don't worry about it. I can heal AC. If anybody can fix AC, HVAC can fix AC." So they call HVAC out there to come do an emergency, and they fixing on him. And then one thing too, I gotta tell you why that's going on. Y'all remember? Well, Mark just gonna have to tell you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, but I did want to. I think we left out an important part. HVAC, he couldn't really get out there right away, man. So he had to call his assistant in. And then he called his assistant. His name was RG. They called him RG. I think Goldman was his last name, whatever. So when he got on the scene, he saw old boy on the ground in this pool of blood, man, and it freaked him out because he had remembered a case from some time back where a young lady, and then he saw OJ at the scene of this crime. But OJ didn't do it, I mean, at least they hadn't proved it yet. But Goldman, he freaked out. And, he said, "Hey, what is he doing here?" And he noticed that old boy was laying on the ground, man. But in this freaking out, he started backing up because now he's a little bit nervous. He started backing out of the room. But as he backed out, he backed out in the hallway where all of the letter people were, and he backed out, kind of bent over, and he didn't know. He didn't really, he was new to the planet. He had they had to teleport him in, but when he backed out of the room, kind of leaning over because he was holding his stomach, man. He started backing out of there. And they had these special kind of pants they had to wear on Planet Erection. And well, before he could fully get out into the hallway, he felt this poke, I'm trying to keep it PG here, but if, the cleanup crew, that was already a scarcity of, the enemy. Their enemy on this planet were women, ladies on the planet. And this was also part of their refocus.
So now, Tupac is, trying to get order in the court. He's trying to get order in the court, right? And so the problem with it is he had this foreign exchange student as a bailiff, and his name was Randy. And, so Randy was getting, a little confused of everything that was going on. And the other bailiff, his name was Jim. And, he was a real slender man, and everybody just called him Slim Jim, right? So, the thing about it is Randy was looking at Slim Jim, and he was like, "Man, if I don't get something to eat soon, I'm going to have to bite into that Slim Jim. Oh, yeah." And so when Tupac says, "Order in the court, order in the court," his hunger was confusing him. And so he thought to himself, "Oh, yeah, I can dig it. Now it's time to eat. I want something sweet, I want to treat my man." And so he starts ordering food. And Tupac's, he's just like, "Order in the court, order." It's just me against the world. It's just me against the world, because everything in there was going crazy, and he couldn't get nobody to calm down. And so at the same time, Charles over there, it was too much going on, and he was starting to get this massive headache. And the problem with Charles, when he got these headaches, and he usually got these headaches after extended periods of erection, and the water source in that town was called Viagra Falls. So
Charles, he wanted to get to that water source, but what ended up happening is when he got ready to tried to go to get him some water, the guy came in, and his name was Dirty Man X. He tried to become a Muslim, but you know what I'm saying, his mind was too dirty, and they had kicked him out. You know what I'm saying, and they forgot to take their last name with him, so he kept the last name, but you know what I'm saying, he kept his Dirty Man X is what they call him. You know what I mean, and when he got into the courtroom and he saw this chaos going on, and he saw Tupac's up trying to get order in the court, he was like, yo, hold up, you know what I'm saying? And then Dirty Man X was like, this is my courtroom, you know what I'm saying? And he walked in, he just started taking over, just knocking stuff over. And then while he was right when he got ready to swing and knock over to one of the benches in the courtroom, he saw that little kid that was in the back trying to tell the judge that something was in her eye. But what we didn't tell you about this kid is that kid was actually an alien from another planet, and the only thing we saw was the top of the alien, but the rest of the alien was kind of almost like buried under the benches, and no one could really tell. And this alien was huge. He was huge. He was from the planet of Humongous, and this alien name was Biggie. You know what I'm saying? And he stood up, and when Dirty Man X started swinging and almost hit the alien stood up, and the alien was like, he was a little cockeyed. The alien, his eyes was kind of all over the place, and he looked at him and he was like, you ain't gonna hit on me because this is notorious for.
Yeah. And one thing about this planet too, it was corrupt. So what it was also notorious for knowing is corruption. So this guy, I don't know if they told you about Professor, he was actually in a wheelchair, but not his whole life. He used to run around. He actually used to get around with Tupac, the judge. But of course they didn't know that, because then he would have got thrown off the case. But coming up, they used to run around together until he lost his legs in a freak accident, and he would always be like, how long will they mourn me? And Tupac was like, I wish it would have been another. But it was his boy, and once he started rolling around in a wheelchair, and he was 60 years old, so they call him Rolling 60s, and Pac didn't really get down with the Rolling 60s, so that really ruined their relationship. But you know what I'm saying, people that knew, if you knew, you knew, then they thought he was on a payroll. But go back also, the person who messed up his legs, because I told you he used to get around, he used to race too. It was this guy named Bruce Jenner. But Bruce was very competitive, and he used to race. Him and Charles was the best ones, and he would beat Charles, and he pulled some of Nancy Kerrigan type stuff, and just messed that boy legs up. But don't forget, Charles got them powers. So Charles was like, "Oh, you think you getting away with it?" He was like, in the future, I'm gonna change you into something else. And he was kind of going in and out, and Bruce was like, "What you gonna change me into?" And all you heard was a mumbling, Caitlin. So he never knew what that meant, but he said he was gonna turn into something else in the future. Now, remember they had told you about Wolverine and that whole accident he had. Actually, he was set up. This guy named Deadpool had set him up. He was a swimming coach, but one day he got drunk, and instead of water, he put sulfuric acid in the pool and killed all the kids. So that's why they called him Deadpool. So this guy Deadpool had teamed up with this lady named Lorena, last name Bobbitt. And she was known for like chopping stuff off, and she didn't like Logan.
Yeah, she didn't like it. She didn't like him, and she was ready to do some chopping too, man. And the field was pretty stacked. I mean, everything was available and open for her to get the chopping. All she had to do was get the swinging. But see, the letter people, man, they wasn't having that. They wasn't having that. No, you're not gonna mess up all this. All of this. This is what they were considering gold now, because gold was taking a back seat. Now they were a little thirsty, but water could wait. They had to stop Bobbitt from chopping off some body parts. But Now, mind you, they're still trying to get order in the court. And I think we didn't give you the full name of Mona Lisa. I think that was the judge, and Judy. Her middle name was Beth. Beth, Beth said, I'm gonna have to call my, I haven't seen my dad in 20 years. I think his name is, I gotta call my father, Rick. And Rick and Morty, she called him. She made that call to Rick and Morty, and they heard this weird sound outside, like a spaceship or whatever. So they made it to the planet, got to the courtroom, and then Rick said, "Don't worry, Morty. Don't worry, Morty. We're gonna fix everything. We're gonna fix." And it's chaotic, and Morty said, "Well, how are we gonna do it?" And so Rick pulled on some pixie dust. He poured out some pixie dust. He said, I got it. We just blow this into the room and it'll fix all of everything. He was he thought he was going to bring normalcy to the room with it. But, he said, we got to fix the planet.
You know what? When he got ready to blow that dust, he shouldn't have inhaled first. He was like, and inhaled some of the pixie dust. You know what I'm saying?
He would have probably did that, but his last name was Clinton, and he said, I did not inhale.